how elasticity is actually built, and why exercises alone aren't enough. If you've been running around training long enough, you've probably heard this phrase before. We do a lot of plyometrics. On the surface, that sounds like the right answer. Plyometrics get associated with explosiveness, bounce, speed, and athleticism. So naturally, parents assume that if their athlete is jumping a lot, elasticity must be improving. But here's the problem. A lot of athletes are doing plyometrics and still losing speed late in games, still feeling heavy under fatigue, still breaking down across the season, which tells us something important. Elasticity isn't automatically built just because an exercise looks explosive. One of the biggest mistakes in performance training is confusing inputs with outcomes. Exercises are inputs. Elasticity is an outcome. Just like lifting weights doesn't automatically make someone strong unless it's loaded, progressed, and recovered from correctly. Jumping doesn't automatically make someone elastic. The body doesn't adapt to exercises. It adapts to how force is absorbed, managed, and reused over time. That's the part most people skip. Elasticity depends on three things working together: the ability to absorb force cleanly, the ability to store that force efficiently, and the ability to release it with good timing. If any one of those things breaks down, elasticity drops. When elasticity drops, muscles start doing work that connective tissue should be helping with. That's when movement starts to feel heavy. Not slow, heavy. Parents often hear athletes say, "My legs just don't have it. I feel flat. I'm still trying, but it's harder. I don't have my legs." That's elasticity failing to contribute. When speed fades, the instinct is usually to add more. More jumps, more intensity, more volume. But elastic tissues don't respond well to being rushed. Unlike muscles, they adapt more slowly, require more recovery, and shut down when overloaded. When volume is pushed too aggressively, the body protects itself by reducing elastic contribution and relying more on muscular effort. That's the exact opposite of what we want. So ironically, doing more plyometrics often makes athletes feel less elastic. Instead of focusing on how high or how hard an athlete jumps, the better questions are: how quiet is the landing? How consistent is the rhythm? Does posture hold up rep to rep? Does contact look springy or forced? Does quality drop as fatigue sets in? Elasticity shows up in repeatability, not in one impressive rep. If an athlete looks bouncy for 2 reps and then loses it, that's not elasticity, that's effort. Most people focus on the takeoff because it looks exciting, but elasticity is built on the landing. The landing is where force is absorbed. If the body can't absorb force cleanly, the system stiffens defensively, timing breaks down, muscles overwork, elastic contribution drops. Good elasticity starts with quiet contacts, stable posture, consistent joint stiffness, controlled timing. Without that, jumping becomes noise, not adaptation. One of the biggest errors in youth development is skipping steps. Athletes are often exposed to depth jumps, high volume hops, reactive drills, but they've earned the right to use them. Elasticity isn't about chasing intensity. It's about building tolerance. When tolerance isn't there, the body survives a session instead of adapting from it. Real elasticity development is boring to watch. It involves low amplitude work done well, repetition with quality, conservative volume, strategic spacing between sessions. The goal is not to exhaust the athlete. The goal is to teach the system to reuse force without leaking energy. When that happens, speed costs less, fatigue shows up later, movements stay crisp. That's durability. Speed that lasts isn't about max output. It's about efficiency. Two athletes can run the same top speed, but if one uses more energy to get there, they'll fade faster. Elasticity lowers the cost of movement. Lower cost means better repeat sprint ability, cleaner mechanics under fatigue, more consistent game speed, and less breakdown across the season. Well-designed programs don't chase exhaustion. They protect elasticity. That means limiting volume, monitoring quality, respecting recovery, progressing slowly. To an untrained eye, it might not look like enough. But to a trained eye, it looks intentional. Instead of asking, do you do plyos? Ask, how do you progress elastic work? How do you manage fatigue? How do you know when quality drops? How do you protect durability across the season? Clear answers signal structure. Vague answers signal guessing. Elasticity isn't built by exercises. It's built by how the body responds to force over time. Exercises are tools. Structure is the difference maker. When elasticity is developed correctly, speed holds, fatigue shows up later, athletes feel lighter, performance becomes durable. If speed fades, even though athletes are doing the right exercises, the issue isn't effort, it's structure.